Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're having fun so far. You're listening to The Ride, and I'm Kara, taking you through your afternoon. Stay with me to listen to more awesome classics right here on The Ride. Mulubinaka, for awesome sounds in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful classics. Join me on The Ride every weekday right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits from 2 to 7.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's 'cause
In this bulletin, several men injured in explosion on boat in Lami. Parliament Secretariat scrutinising Hansard reports. And relocation guide formulated to help prepare villages affected by climate change. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate, and this is FBC News. An explosion on a ship anchored in the Lami Bay has landed 6 people in hospital. One person was trapped in the hull of the boat for almost 5 hours. Chanel Sivan has the story with exclusive footage from the Betsy Ross.
At around 12 p.m. today, the crew of the vessel called for help. The emergency crew responded immediately. The teams, including fire officers, rushed to the vessel with oxygen tanks and medical aid. 4 crew members were initially taken off the boat. Police have now confirmed 6 people have been taken to the CWM hospital. 4 of them are workers on the ship and 2 are firefighters. 1 person is reported to be in the intensive care unit at the CWM hospital. FBC News understands the crew were mixing paint in the hull of the yacht and there was an explosion. The National Fire Authority Chief Executive John O'Connor says he has not been briefed about the incident. Police are waiting further details on the incident from their officers at the scene. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Chanel Shivan is back at the Lami jetty where there has been a development in the last hour. Chanel, what can you tell us?
Jackie, I can confirm the 5th person on the vessel, on board the vessel, Betsy Ross, has died. Now, the vessel at this stage is behind that island. When we came around here at around 12 p.m., the vessel was somewhere around there between these 2 islands. At this stage, police forensics are on board the vessel carrying out the investigations. What we know at this stage is the body has been removed and taken to the CWM hospital. The police commissioner Ben Honewald was also here at the scene, and he has also left the scene. Details surrounding the identity of the person is still sketchy. We are not able to gather the identity of this person, who was the 5th person on board the vessel Betsy Ross. Police were trying to, the medical team were trying to recover his body from around 12 p.m. and it took them at around 5 to 6 hours to recover his body, and they were trying to send firefighters, medical teams to rescue his body from inside the hull of the vessel. And what we know at this stage, 2 of the firefighters are in fact admitted at the CWM hospital. That's what I have at this stage, Jackie.
Thanks so much for that update, Chanel. The Secretary-General to Parliament today cleared the air on concerns raised by government on the quality of Hansard reports. Viniana Namosi-Malua says they have taken on board the constructive criticism that was dished out in a letter from the Attorney-General to the Parliamentary Secretariat yesterday. Maggie Boyle reports.
Secretary-General to Parliament Viniana Namosi-Malua today defending her Secretariat. Yesterday, the Attorney-General Aya Saeed Qayyum raised his concern about substandard Parliament Hansard reports in a written letter.
They've identified gaps, and whenever a gap is raised, it's our duty to respond to it. And as Parliament, we need to give the most accurate reports of what is presented in Parliament. So it's our responsibility to really do something about it.
According to a Fiji Sun report, the letter stated there were numerous errors. Some statements were completely missed out, some summarised, grammatical errors and the use of incorrect sentence structure. The AG going on to say that some of the errors are so blatant that one can either come to the conclusion that the reporters are completely incompetent.
An opportunity for us to improve on our work and look at the gaps and improve on them, and an opportunity also for us to raise our level of performance.
Mosima says she's currently drafting a response to government while also trying to manage the media flurry that it has caused.
I was a bit disappointed that it made it to the cover page of the front page of a newspaper. I would have thought that it would be something that we could deal internally. Yeah, and I was a bit disappointed, but then it's come out, and we are going to respond, and we are going to do something about it and pull ourselves up and move on.
It's understood this incident came to the forefront after the use of a derogatory slur was heard in Parliament but not recorded on the official transcripts. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama has requested for structured development assistance from the United Arab Emirates during his discussions with Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Bainimarama asked Sheikh Abdullah if he could encourage commercial and development banks to offer favorable loan conditions to assist Fiji in its national development. He also extended a ministerial invitation to the UAE to participate in the Third Pacific Islands Development Forum in Fiji in August, and is hopeful that they will continue to provide financial support to fund the expansion of the PIDF. Bainimarama also spoke out against terrorism and how grateful he was for the UAE and other Gulf states for their support in securing the release of 45 Fijian soldiers who were captured by al-Nusra last year. Bainimarama also advised Sheikh Abdullah that Fiji is ready to assist should they consider establishing a diplomatic presence in Suva. Sheikh Abdullah held discussions with the government in Nadi yesterday during his one-day visit before flying out to New Zealand. A relocation guide is being formulated to help prepare villages affected by climate change. Representatives from coastal communities have gathered in Suva to help the government come up with a guideline that takes their plight into account.
These men speak for villages which are living with the reality of climate change, seawater inundation, loss of fresh water sources and harsher weather. That's not even the worst of it.
Climate change over the 21st century is projected to increase the displacement of people.
The guideline that's being prepared will ensure that all arms of government are fully involved, but the central focus will be the communities which are being relocated. Acting Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Esala Neasi, says we must be sympathetic to the plight of Fijians whose very lives are being destroyed by climate change.
Relocation is probably the most drastic step one can take, as rarely do people want to move from places where they have grown up and which provide them their sustenance.
The guideline will form the basis of all future relocations.
What you are doing here is not only of relevance for these three communities, which are presently under discussion for relocation, not only for Fiji, it is also for your neighboring countries. It's the first time that anywhere this issue, which will become urgent in the years to come.
Relocation isn't an impending ordeal. It's already here. Lives have been affected in 3 coastal villages, with the school in the Lau group next on the list. In total, 800 communities in Fiji are at risk from climate change. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
The 2 men charged for allegedly smuggling $30 million worth of heroin into the country will take their plea in the Lautoka High Court next week. Ethan Kai and Mohammed Shahid Khan appeared in court this morning. DPP lawyer Semi Mbambitu made an application for the consolidation of charges against the two. Kai and Khan have been appearing in the High Court in 2 separate cases. Kai's lawyer Aman Ravindra Singh objected to the application and will make a submission on it when the case is called again next week. Kai and Khan will take their plea on February 26th. Still to come on FBC News, Dr. Chico Luveni is United Nations Population Fund's Pacific High-Level Champion.
Ni sa bulu bina kana turna ngakini marama ni bulu bina kana daur bau kini mone lewa. Ni sa bulu bina kana mone en do talem no ngona ni wawai katalau en mataka nei dai.
En vendelana mai nei tasiri.
Numbulu maleka go ni bilote nei sorta boa.
En lomo ni bonua mai sianganga.
Ni umbulu go Samuel Samuel. Na nota ngona ni wawai katalau en radio Fijuan nandomo vitina vonga ni vena. Mai no kini diwa en be mataka moni tiki na pagruka. Ni kai namaka.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Another veteran of the nuclear testing program on Christmas Island has received his $9,855 compensation from the government. The Fiji Nuclear Test Veterans Association hopes that the British government will take cue from these payouts and compensate Fijian soldiers affected by the nuclear tests. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
88-year-old Nick Ombuke could not control his emotions. The once Fijian hero is now bedridden.
I thank the government for thinking of me, for thinking of us.
The Mburumbasanga villager is now deaf and lives with his family in Lautoka. Fellow veteran retired Sergeant Levani Nawanga thanked his comrade for his service to the country.
This is your money. It's just a small token of gratitude from the nation to you for services rendered with distinction and honor. You've come of age now. May God continue to bless you.
The Fiji Nuclear Veterans Association is hopeful that the government's one-off payment, such as the one given to Mbuke, may now encourage the British government to compensate them.
We had calls from London, from the BBC, and our PM has already announced that he has said talk with the British Prime Minister and even our lawyers from London. He's called our counterparty in Fiji, saying that there'll be talk very soon with the British Prime Minister. Whether that will happen, we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope things will work out our way.
The Fijian government has allocated $2.95 million towards the one-off payment. Only 70 of the 289 soldiers who were deployed to Christmas Island in 1958 are still living. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
12 people will leave for New Zealand on Saturday to work as fruit pickers in the pilot phase of the recognised seasonal employment scheme. They will be employed by Pick Hawke's Bay, incorporated in Hawke's Bay. The 12 are currently undergoing their final phase of training with the Labour Ministry and the New Zealand High Commission in Suva. The second group will leave after being interviewed by an employer who is expected to be in the country soon.
We hope to send the next lot early next month because the next employer is going to come in and do his own interviews and his own selection. Out of the 30 people whom we have selected for the pilot project, so hopefully by the end of the exercise, the whole 30 would go down to New Zealand.
The seasonal workers are expected to be employed for about 6 months. An assessment of the pilot will be carried out before Fiji's formal inclusion in the scheme. Empowering the women, children and the disadvantaged is the focus for the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation this year. While launching of the ministry's 2015 annual corporate plan, Minister Rosie Akbar says they want to achieve this mission. Sakyu Sanaivor reports.
Government will extend the inclusion of the Poverty Monitoring Unit in the ministry this year is a strategic move by the government to provide solid evaluations on the poverty evaluation programs. It is part of the ministry's main focus for the year, reducing poverty to a negligible level.
The reporting and feedback will overall impact the ministry to where it is currently at the moment, and enforcing new strategies to see that gaps existed will be ironed out.
This year, the ministry expects to assist 2,000 new poverty benefit scheme cases, 3,000 new food voucher cases, 2,000 new social pension cases, and 1,000 new bus taxi fare program cases. It's also providing training for income-generating programs for most of the disadvantaged.
The ministry in its capacity does not only provide assistance, but also ensures that families are empowered for self-sufficiency. It is aligned with the Fijian government's vision to eliminate dependency in our midst.
Minister Rosie Akbar has taken a more personal approach to social issues, placing confidence in their plans.
The new game plan, ladies and gentlemen, in dealing with social issues and poverty is to create solutions to address the root determinants. More so, the target clientele must walk with us till they are ready to stand strongly on their own.
The ministry's annual corporate plan focuses on changing lives, helping the disadvantaged walked out of poverty and empowering women to reach greater heights. Sakyusa Nebua, FBC News.
Fiji's first woman Speaker of Parliament, Dr. Chico Luveni, is now the United Nations Population Fund Pacific High-Level Champion. UNFPA Pacific Director and Representative Dr. Lauren Zesler says Dr. Luveni's keen interest in sexual and reproductive health and rights-related issues made her the suitable choice. Shireen Lata reports.
When the United Nations Population Fund Pacific Sub-Regional Office asked me to consider being a high-level champion for their mandate areas, I accepted with a deep sense of responsibility.
Dr. Chico Luveni is the first in the Pacific, including Australia and New Zealand, to be invited in being an advocate by the United Nations Population Fund. UNFPA Director and Representative Dr. Laurent Jesler says, as UNFPA high-level champion, Dr. Luveni will be involved in global and regional engagement.
She will also be involved in our work towards achieving the Samoa Pathway. As you know, which is the 2014 outcome statement of the third conference on the small island developing states in Samoa.
Dr. Luveni has always been an advocate on issues concerning population and says any development done is development for the people.
It was with a sense of urgency as well that I accepted this role. We are living in a time and age in which lived realities of individuals are very different from those of our parents and even our time as youth.
Dr. Luveni will also assist in efforts towards achieving the Family Planning 2020 project goal, that 120 million more women in the world will have access to contraceptives and information about planning their family by 2020. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
The Health Ministry is advising the public to destroy breeding places of the dengue-carrying mosquitoes. Health Minister Chone Usamate says people shouldn't wait for a dengue outbreak to take action. Akusita Tale has more.
The Health Ministry is keeping a close eye on the spread of dengue fever around the country. It's encouraging everyone to start acting now by destroying mosquito breeding places.
I encourage everybody in Fiji, dengue is still mosquito season. Everybody must go out there and terminate mosquitoes, destroy their breeding grounds. If all of us look after our own compounds and our own communities, then we'll be able to deal with that.
Usamate has also commended the local government ministry for conducting clean-up campaigns.
Spraying is taking place. I understand that our ministry is doing spraying together with the local government, but we shouldn't wait for mosquitoes need to be sprayed. We need to go out there and destroy them.
Meanwhile, the ministry says it has been able to control typhoid in the Mbua area.
We did have typhoid in the Wainunu in Mbua. In the Mbua area, I think there were around 14 cases. I have not heard of this growing anymore. But typhoid is basically something to do with sanitation. We need to look at all the messages, learning, wash your hands, clean your hands, making sure that you have access, your source of water is good, all that needs to be maintained.
Last year, 15 people died from dengue fever with more than 25,000 suspected cases. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Rakazaki, and good evening in sports. After the break, Pio Tuwai and Samu Sengiwa target a return to the Fiji 7 side, and top clubs pull out of this weekend's Vodafone Nines competition. We'll have this and more coming up.
Ni sa bulu bina kana turna kini marama ni bulu bina kana dor bo kini monelewa ni sa bulu bina kana ngone en do tale no no ni wa katalau en mataka nei nei
en vendelana mai nei tasiri
no bulu maleka go ni milote nei sorta boa
en lomo ni bonua mai sanganga
ni bulu re go Samuel Samli na no tanga ni wa katalau en radio Fiji wan nandomo vitina vonga ni venu mai no kini diwa en be mataka moni tikina paruka ni kai namaka.
Welcome back. Two former Fiji Sevens players are back home and are hoping to win a spot in the national side for the Hong Kong Sevens tournament. Lanky Pio Tuwai and Samuela Singiwa have completed their stint in Sri Lanka and are now out to impress Fiji Sevens coach Ben Ryan. Josephine Avula caught up with the pair today and files this report.
Braving the hot sun during training with his Westfield Barbers team, former Fiji Sevens player Pio Tuwai is back to stake a claim for a spot in the national side.
I'm here to play at the Maris Sevens, representing the Westfield team, and a lot of questions have been coming in from various media through phone and social websites on whether I want to play for the national team. I am confident and I want to represent my country in Sevens.
Tuwai departed national squad last year for a rugby contract with the Army Rugby Club in Sri Lanka. He says it was a move he had to make.
The reason why I went to Sri Lanka was for my family's welfare and most importantly, providing for my children. They gave me a good offer, so I went there for a few months.
Joining him in the quest for a national call-up is Saunaka-led Samuela Sangiwa.
I will try my very best to reach the fitness level that is required by the Fiji team officials or is required by Ben, and I will continue to respect the decisions made by them on whether they will take me back for the squad or not.
The duo will be playing for the Westfield Barbers at the 39th Fiji Beta Sevens that will be held on the 6th and 7th of March in Suva. They hope it is here that they are able to impress Ryan and make return to the national setup. Josephine Avula, FBC Sports.
The Lautoka Rugby Union is mapping out ways to get them back on top in this year's rugby season. The union finished its franchise competition last week with the Sharks defeating Crusaders 10-5 to win the final. Lautoka coach Ifremi Rawanga says they have seen a lot of potential during the competition and will make sure they select the best players for the season.
We've put some criteria for the players to work on, and from that criteria we'll choose our best players for this year's competition.
Rawanga adds they are trying to improve their performance from last year after the team featured in the promotion-relegation match. Meanwhile, a committee meeting will be held on Monday to finalize the date for the union's annual general meeting. Top local rugby league clubs, the Nandera Panthers, Mburinitu Cowboys and Police Sharks have pulled out of the Vodafone Nines tournament to be played in Nandi on Saturday. The teams are unable to compete in the one-day competition because of financial difficulties and late registrations. Teams that have confirmed they'll be there include defending champions Topline Warriors, Sambeto Roosters, Makoi Bulldogs and the Saru Dragons. 24 teams will take part in the Vodafone Nines tournament, which kicks off at 9 a.m. Saturday at Nandi's Prince Charles Park. The Fiji Chess Federation is pleased with the progress young players are making. A lot of young players have shown interest in the association's latest events, and officials believe this is a plus sign for the development of chess as a whole.
Our main target was to develop a new generation of chess players. We want newer players to represent Fiji in the future, because any sport you need young players to take up from one generation to the next. And it's very nice to see young players like Minash Farid winning the Young Athlete of the Year in the Sports Award last year, and then this year we have Cabrina, who is 16 years old. She's a nominee in the Sports Award. So it's very nice to see the younger players pulling up and catching on with the senior players.
The Kundan Singh Open Chess Championship will be held on Sunday at Tapu City in Suva. And you can watch the highlights of the Bangladesh vs Afghanistan match at 10:30 tonight and also at 2 p.m. tomorrow right here on FBC TV. That is your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Minister for Tourism Fayaz Koya has awarded 6 Nandi airport workers with the prestigious Fijian Host Award. The awards were introduced in 2012 to encourage service delivery at Nandi Airport. Koya says they are considering expanding the program to other airports. Airports Fiji Limited employee Chochi Vengaravi was awarded the 2014 Fijian Host Award.
The tourism industry is by far the most important industry for Fiji, earning the largest foreign exchange and contributing 34% of the GDP in 2013. We are expecting this to increase even further in the coming years as we expand our marketing presence in not just the traditional markets, but the non-traditional markets as Southeast Asia, the Middle East and Europe.
The Fijian Host Awards were for the second half of last year. This year's winners will be picked from visitors' feedback. Showers and thunderstorms affected most parts of the country today. A weak trough of low pressure with associated cloud and showers lies slow moving over the country. Meanwhile, a moist northeast wind flow prevails over most southwest Pacific countries. Showers and thunderstorms affected most parts of the country. Lambasa received 16 millimeters of rain in the 24 hours to 9 a.m. today. Maximum temperatures reached the 30s again today. Sabu Sabu hit 30, Suva 31, while Ba, Nadi, Lautoka and Lambasa recorded 32. Some showers over the Vanua level, Kandabo, southern Lao, eastern and interior parts of other larger islands. Elsewhere, fine apart from afternoon or evening showers and thunderstorms. Isolated thunderstorms with heavy falls expected. And further outlook, some showers over the Vanua level, eastern and interior parts of the larger islands. Elsewhere, afternoon or evening showers. Isolated thunderstorms with heavy falls expected. And a quick recap of our main stories tonight. Several men injured in explosion on boat in Lami. Parliament Secretariat scrutinising Hansard reports and relocation guide formulated to help prepare villages affected by climate change. To our poll segment, we're asking this week, are there enough public conveniences? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That's all from us for today. Bye for now.